السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Let's start our lesson. It's about volumes. Let's begin. Bismillah. I have here three shapes. This shape is a line, and this one is a rectangle, and this one, you took it in third grade. Yes, it's what? A rectangular prism or a cuboid. The line here, I can call it one-dimensional shape. Why? Because it has just one dimension, which is length. What about the rectangle? The rectangle, I will call it two-dimensional shape because it has two dimensions, which are length and width. And in the case of rectangular prism or a cuboid, I will call it three-dimensional shape. Why? Because it has length and width and height. We can measure what for the length? I can measure it by using what ruler or something like this, and I can measure the length. What about the rectangle? I can measure the length and I can measure the width, and according to the length and the width, I will measure a new dimension thing. For the two-dimensional shape, I will call it area, right? And we will have a new thing to measure for the three-dimensional shape in the case of the rectangle prism or any 3D shapes. But let's, before we do this, let's know more about the rectangular prism. The rectangular prism, as we can see here, or you can look for any books at your house, we have how many faces? I have front, backward, right, left, and up and down. So each rectangular prism consists of 6 rectangular faces. Each face of these faces, looks like what? Looks like a rectangle. But in some cases, we will have 4 rectangular faces and 2 squares. And you can see it in the medicine boxes or anything like this. What about this line? This line, it's length, and this line is width, and this line is height. All of these lines, I can call them edges. I have how many widths here in the rectangle prism? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 width, and 1, 2, 3, 4 length, and 1, 2, 3, 4 heights. So how many edges I will have here in the rectangle prism? 4 width and 4 length and 4 heights. So overall, we will have 12 edges in the rectangular prism. What about this small point? The small point here, which is the intersection between 3 edges, I can call it vertex. How many vertices for the rectangular prism? 1, 2, 3, 4 up and 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So we will have here 8 vertices for the rectangular prism. Now we can measure the thing we can say about the 3D shapes, which is special for the 3D shapes, which called volume. What is volume? Volume is the number of units that any solid consists of. Solid means what? 3D shapes. But which unit I will use to measure the volume? For the length, we can measure 1 centimeter, 1 decimeter, whatever we want. But let's see here 1 centimeter for measuring this length. So the unit here of the length, it means one unit only. So this line segment is 1 centimeter. It can be our unit to measure any length, right? And in the case of area, we can use, yes, small squares, right? And if the edge length of the square or the side length of the square is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, so the small area here will be 1 centimeter square, and we can write it as 1 centimeter small 2, and we can use this small square to measure any area for any two-dimensional shape we want. But what about the three-dimensional shape? For measuring volume for the three-dimensional shape, we will need a small three-dimensional point or unit. Yes, it's called what? It's called cube. Why it's a cube? Because all the faces looks like square and all the edges are equal. So to measure volume, we will use this small unit, which is a small cube. Yes, its side length or edge length equal 1 centimeter, and this is 1 centimeter, and the height 1 centimeter, and I can call it 1 centimeter cube. How can I write it? In math, 1 centimeter and small 3 above it. Here I multiply in the square, I multiply length and width, or side times side. So when I multiply two dimensional by each other, I will put small 2 here, and I can call it 1 centimeter square. And in the case of the volume, I have what? 3 dimension, length and width and height. So if I multiply 3 dimension, I will have small 3 here in the name of the unit of measuring unit volume. So let's measure the volume of this rectangular prism. So I will fill it by small 1 centimeter cubes, okay, and we will measure out how many cubes it can consist of. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have finished? No, it's just one layer, right? I have to put another layer to find out the volume of this shape. And in the first layer, I had how many cubes? Yes, I used 8 cubes. Let's complete the rectangular prism and we can see how many layers we will need. So we need another layer here, the second layer here, right? So the total number of cubes I used to measure the volume of this rectangular prism, I used 16 cubes, 8 in the bottom and 8 up. So how many layers I will have? I have 2 layers, and in each layer there is 8 cubes, right? So how can we measure the volume? We can say that if we multiply the cubes in each layer times the number of layers, which is 8, which is the cube in each layer, times the number of layers which is 2, it will be 16. So the volume is 16 cubes or cube centimeter. Can I arrange the cubes in another way? Yes, we can. We can arrange them like this, but can I call this one as a layer? No. The layers has to be vertically, horizontally, and this one is vertically, right? So this one I will call it slice. This is the first slice. Let's complete our rectangular prism. Second slice, third one, and I have here fourth one. So each slice here has four cubes. So I can again measure the volume by multiplying the number of the cubes in each slice times the number of slices. Cube in each slice, I have 4 times the number of slices, which is 4. 4 times 4 equals 16 cubes. Let's see an example for this. The number of horizontal layer here, horizontal layer, it means like this. 1, 2. So the number of the horizontal layer is 2. The number of cubes in each horizontal layer, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Can I have another way, simpler way, instead of counting how many cubes I will have? Yes, we can. By looking for this layer as an array. I have here the number of rows and the number of columns. As number of columns, I have what? I have 4. And the number of rows is 3. Length and width, 4 times 3. So this is the number of layers in the base. 4 times 3 equals 12. Okay, so to calculate the volume, what shall we do? We will multiply the number of cubes in each layer times the number of layers. 12 times 2 equals 24 centimeter cube. So we can say that the volume equals the area, which is the number of cubes in each layer, right, times the height, which is the number of layers. The height here is what? Is 2, and this is the same as the number of layers. And the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the width is 1, 2, 3. So we can measure out length times width, which is area, like this one. So it will be the area times height. And we can say again that the volume equals length times width times height. So these are the two formula which we are going to use to calculate the volume. So for this rectangular prism, let's find out what is the length. The length here is this dimension. I have what here? 2 centimeter. And what about the width? The width here is 2 centimeter. What about the height? Let's measure out 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 centimeter. How can we find the volume? Don't forget to write the rule. Length times width times height, which is 2 times 2 times 4. 2 times 2 equal 4. 4 times 4 equal 16 centimeter cube. Let's see this problem. Find the volume of each and compare between each volume. In A and in B. In A here we have the area of the base, which is 16 centimeter square. And I have here the height, which is 14. How can we calculate the volume? By using which formula? Yes, volume equals area times height, which is 16 times 14. We can use any strategy we want to multiply these two digits number, and we will find that the answer will be 224 centimeter cube. What about this one? We have length and width and height. In this case, we can see that we have a square base. The length equal width equal 4 and 4, right? And the height is 14. So the volume equals length times width times height, which is 4 times 4 times 14, which is 16 times 14, which is the same number as this one. So it will be 224 centimeter cube. So how can we compare between them? We can say that both of them are equal. What about this last question we have here? The volume of the rectangular prism is 630 meter cube. Talk to a partner about how you could find the missing dimension. What is the missing dimension here? This one. Okay, we have this side is 15 meter and this side is the length, which is this one and this one. All of the length are equal, and this side is 6 meter, which is the width. But the missing here will be what? Will be the height. Which formula we will use? Let's remember here. We can use our magical triangle. How can we put a magical triangle here? We will put the volume up, length times width times height, or volume up, and it will be area times height. Which one will be more easier for me to find the height? I think this one will be easier for me. So let's find out the area first. Area equal length times width, which is what? The length here is 15 and the width is 6 meter, but the height is missing. So area equal length times width, which is 15 times 6. Okay, use your rough work or multiply as we learned before. It will be 90 centimeter square. Okay, so to find the height, what shall we do? We call this one magical triangle because wherever you hide, we will find. Let's hide this height by your hand. You will find out the height equal volume divided by area. Okay, we can say that area times what equal volume. So what the number, if I multiply by 90, will be the answer will be 630. It means what? I will divide 630 divide what? Divide 90. It will be, I will cancel 0 by 0. 63 divide 9 equals 7 centimeter. That's all for today. Thank you and